Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It's about 4:45 on Tuesday afternoon, April 23rd, 2013. We're going to look at the S&P. Surprise, surprise, we got a little surprise. Nothing huge, but certainly worth pointing out. Before I get into it, though, I want to remind you that the website and the video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I'm not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. Before we get started, we have some new subscribers. I want to thank you for signing up. And I want to take the opportunity to remind everybody that there is no surefire, absolute, gonna work method to analyzing a stock chart. And today was one of those days where something I said over the past couple of days didn't work. It didn't work. But you know, we've been talking about the fact that if we are in topping territory, we know to expect some tug of war, some interesting things to happen. If we are, we will also expect to see a confirmed topping pattern that is confirmed by a breakdown. And for right now, we don't have that. So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like we're watching this drawing and we're looking at it and we're saying, wow, that looks like it's going to be a rocket ship. Okay? And then as it gets more and more clear, we might come to a point where we say, whoa, it's not a rocket ship. It's a skyscraper. So while we're looking at this and we're saying this sure looks like it could be a head and shoulders topping pattern that's developing here, I have to remind you and myself that until the pattern completes and it breaks to the downside, it's pure speculation. If we do end up with this being a topping pattern and we break that 1540 line with conviction, then we know we have about an 80 to 85% chance of seeing the minimum downside target hit from this pattern. We've been seeing that all along for the past 4 years. So, what surprised me about today's action is simply this. I did not think we were going to just zip up above this broken yellow support line. But we did have this little inverted head and shoulders pattern down here. And when we measured the depth of that pattern from its breakout area, that pointed to a level of about 1574. And so that we can't really argue against that. As a matter of fact, that just becomes another inverted head and shoulders pattern that told the truth. The question now is, will this rally continue on up and challenge the highs that were set 2 weeks ago, just a hair under 1600? And if we do get that, I would be still on the lookout. Since we've had 2 left shoulders, maybe we get 2 heads. The fact that this line did break is not a positive. Okay, the fact that we got back into this, the fact that we got back over this line, it does speak for some underlying willingness for people to buy the dips still. But the question will be, will this pattern complete And if it does, will it do so? Well, the question that's a good enough question right there. I don't have to ask the secondary question. I'm just going to say, will it do so in such a way that that once again we get the sell in May and go away signal? We've seen it before. We've seen it the past 3 years. And I want to remind you, I'm not a big believer in folklore. I'm not a big believer in old wives' tales. I've said it many, many times. We get gaps sometimes that never fill. A gap up is not a vacuum that sucks the prices back into that area. A gap down is not a vacuum that creates this inexorable power that brings price levels back to fill that gap. They don't have to fill. They often do. They don't have to. So that said, that's just another old wives' tale, so to speak. I'm sorry, some of you who are listening may be wives and you may be on up there in years. I'm not making fun of you. You know what I mean. So let's just take what today is, and that is that little inverted head and shoulders pattern certainly did its thing. And going forward, I would expect, let's see, we got 2 more trend lines up here. Let's see if they exert any influence over this over the S&P. And if these lines do come into play, then that 1597 area, you know, maybe that is again going to be an area that gets tagged once again, that apex. But here you can see our little downward channel, orange line at the top, this red line at the bottom. Got over that today. If we take a look at some of the 5-minute chart, you can also see that it looked like there was a little channel starting up, and we had another one of those instances where the market just blew out over this little top line on the 5-minute chart. That's probably no big deal. But so the moral of the story right now, I think, is this pattern has not completed. It may not complete. So I don't want to call it anything until it actually does complete. With today's strength, I'm not inclined to short right now, because I think we may be setting up a double head. If we get up to that 1590s, mid 1590s, and tag this line, that may be that would likely be a good opportunity to start a short position, because we're going to get a leg down, guys. It's going to happen. Finally, one more thing I want to point out. As we look at these trend lines sort of get violated. In other words, we get a trend line that breaks, but then we get another rally. Then we get another line that breaks. Then we get that other rally. There was a time that this was happening before in the chart, and I believe, I don't remember whether it was back in 2011 or 2012. I think it was 2011. But the gist of it was this. We actually ended up with something of a rounding pattern. So it could be that what we're seeing here isn't going to fit the nice straight line approach as much as we're just kind of turning over. Because if you look at an hourly chart, and let's go back to a 2-hour, and you see our existing channel here. I've got to move that line right there. You could see how we're just kind of started to slump to to nearer and nearer this channel line. So if this ends up being another move to 1596 and then we break this again, we may be getting more of a just kind of a rounding top, potentially. So anyway, rather than me just waxing on endlessly about this, let's see if we get this move now on up to potentially challenge that 1597 high. And if we do, will it happen underneath these two blue lines? And if that happens, will we see resistance at that level? That's the $64,000 question. For right now, we're back on top of. Let me move that back to where it belongs. We're back on top of this lower support line. So let's see if it comes back to being some support. Finally, look at that long candle we had there, right in about the middle of the day. In case you're wondering and you don't know what that was, somebody hacked the I believe the Associated Press Twitter account and tweeted that there had been an explosion at the White House. And so that's what that was, just in case you didn't know that. So guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support, and take care. I thought I hit pause there for a second. Sorry for that inordinate delay.